Okay, I think it's nearly afternoon, so good afternoon, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the time during this FinTech conference, and let me introduce myself. I am Rama Kamineni. I'm working in solution architecture and Visa developer platform function. I joined Visa in May 2017, and prior to that, I worked in e-commerce domain. So the first question I want to ask you is, I know that some of you are FinTechs, but how many of you are from developer background or technical business analyst? Please raise your hands. Okay, that's a good number. Okay, so I think I should hold it this way. And this is the confidentiality notice. So here is the agenda for today. So what we'll be talking about is I'm going to skip the evolving payments ecosystem, because some of which is covered by Vish and Shahar. And then we'll be talking more about Visa Developer, what it offers. And then probably I'll show you the Visa Developer platform itself, like how easy is it to find the APIs, navigate through the APIs, and how to go live as well. So, and if you have any questions, I will leave like 5 to 10 minutes in the end, and probably we can go through the questions as well. So the evolving payments ecosystem. So I think you know what this is. So the first e-commerce transaction happened in 1994, and I don't clearly remember who the merchant is. I'm curious to find out myself as well who that is. But as it progresses, now currently we are in like digital wallets launch phase, and in fact we should say like this is changing due to the influx of IoTs. The payments are everywhere now. Like previously it used to be on the cards, now it is in the mobile devices. Like you can pay with Apple Pay, Google Pay, and I have seen Fitbit, Garmin Pay as well. And then there are some trials on rings as well, NFC rings. And there are some companies in UK which are actually putting the payment credentials pretty much in every device. Like even you can have it in a coffee mug and go to a coffee shop and make a payment. So like you can see that the payments are evolving, and we have to transfer the credentials securely. The experiences are evolving because of this influx of IoTs. And in the next slide, you will see like these are the industry leaders that are actually defining these standards for customer convenience. And if you are from an e-commerce background or issuer background, you would know what the customer pain points are. Like if a customer wants to go somewhere, how are you making their lives easier with your banking app or banking website? And if you are from an e-commerce background, you might have seen some videos around Facebook Messenger, whereby you open the Messenger, and within the Messenger, you can actually say like book a room, or book a Uber taxi. In the same way, when you go onto the Uber app, you're actually seeing like, oh, where is my car, and can I track it, or how long does it take? So you can see that APIs are being used by all of these big companies, and in fact, pretty much all of the companies, I should say, all the tech companies. And in these cases, these are both consumers and providers, and what they do is like they don't simply use their own APIs. They mash up the APIs and they provide a consumer experience to drive conversion, because that's what matters in the end. Like how many consumers are you bringing in either to your e-commerce domain or to the issuer banking app, so that they can have this convenience. And this is how it started. Like it started with mobile, and now we are in a stage where it is in wearables like Fitbit, Garmin, NFC ring. And APIs are the backbone of innovation. So for those of you who doesn't know what an API stands for, it's an application programming interface, and it's a connector which can connect multiple heterogeneous systems or homogeneous systems. Like it can connect you to an external world, or you can use it internally as well within your backend systems. Which is going back to your point previously. I think if you're, it is irrespective of the channel, basically. So if you're having the mobile apps and if you're building the SDKs, then possibly you're using a lot of APIs within that mobile SDK. And if you're building an e-commerce website, probably you are connecting to a, let us say, some third-party AWS services, or from Amazon or Rackspace, or you could be using Google Maps, Google Location Services. In the similar way, we provided APIs to actually make this payment journey more easy. So how will you keep up with the evolving payments ecosystem? So I should say, like, probably we should change this word here. How will you keep up with the evolving payments ecosystem? How will you keep up with evolving technologies as well? Like, if there is a new technology that is sitting behind the payment ecosystem, are you going to reintegrate, or are you going to use the APIs that are already leveraging on that innovation? So as you can see, this is an API economy. And as the APIs are evolving, technology is driving that as well. And that's exactly what I said, like innovate at the pace of technology and efficiently and easily solve your digital pain points. And it's an omni-channel thing, like you're connecting e-commerce and mobile, and pretty much in all of the countries, it's mobile first experience. And I believe it's the same in Turkey as well. I'm new to Turkey, but I have seen a lot of evolution in this region as well. And how you build the customized digital solutions. And as you can see on the right side, that is a Visa Developer Center. And to give you a bit of background on Visa Developer Center, we have opened it up more or less like nearly 2 years ago. Previously, if you look at Visa, it's a closed system. Like, we used to work with issuers, acquirers. But over the last few years, what we have been doing is engaging more with retail clients, and we are engaging more with startups, technology providers. Yeah, so everyone can actually go onto the Visa Developer Portal, and we make the consumer, we ensure that the website is intuitive as well, so that you can go probably find some use cases that you want to look into, or you can, if you want to, most of the companies ask for this, like, are there any clients, yeah, who implemented these use cases? So what we have put in there is a partner showcase, and you will see the live examples of how these partners have integrated with APIs as well. So here, you can improve the existing digital experiences, ideate new digital requirements, and integrate Visa APIs into your developer platform. Again, like what we are saying there is you can integrate these APIs with your own or with your third party and build a customer experience that can actually bring more customers to your website or banking institutions. And what Visa Developer Platform enables is it supercharges the innovation and increases speed to market. This is particularly for fintechs and in fact for all the clients who want to scale fast to the market. So basically, if you're building your own logic, if you're building multiple services, yeah, the easiest way to do it is like, is there a service that actually provides you with all the capabilities? If you look at Visa, it has it processes 65,000 transactions per second, and it has trillions of data. Leveraging on the data, we have like a lot of fraud information available as well. And what we actually do is we gather the insights out of the data, and a lot of these APIs expose that capability to you, like what is happening behind it. So I'm going to go deep dive into some of the APIs a little bit later on, but if you some of the there are some value add services like foreign exchange API, whereby you can simply get access to our daily foreign exchange rate and include within your let us say travel services API. When a customer goes abroad, he wants to see the foreign exchange that you are applying, and probably a markup which you can apply as well on top of it. So that's one API, and then there are some risk and fraud APIs as well that leverages on our capabilities, and we do leverage on the data that we have within our backend systems. Like, we do look at like geolocation, like where the transaction is coming from, and we do the bot detection, device fingerprinting. If we have that information, let us say if you're transacting from your mobile device, then probably we know where you are transacting, and we do have that information as well. And velocity checks, obviously. So these are some of the solution bundles, I should say. So the first segment is like traveler. So again, we are saying like these are the good use cases, but in fact, when you actually go onto the Visa Developer Center and start looking at the APIs, probably you can come up with a use case that is more appealing to you. So when you have that a new use case, yeah, you can actually drop a line to developer@visa.com and say like, can we work on these APIs with this use case and see how this goes? And if that is successful, and I think that's a good win for every one of us. The first one, traveler, is a good point for cross-border transactions, I should say. And this is primarily for customers who are traveling abroad, and what they want is this experience within the banking app or any other application. They want to have the traveler tools, and what they want to see is like, okay, where is my nearest ATM which accepts Visa card? And what are the foreign exchanges when I transact? And then what are where are the nearby merchants? So there are merchant search and merchant locator APIs that you can integrate as well as part of this traveler proposition. And then you have the Visa transaction controls, and what it means is like Visa transaction controls, you can allow customers to set up some configuration so that, let us say I want to go somewhere and I want to block a transaction on my card. Let us say I went to US or some country where you don't want to make a payment, then you can block it, yeah, or unblock it. So you have that flexibility, like, okay, I'm going to a location, so let us set up alerts only for a few countries. So if you are close by another country where this transaction could happen, you can set up those alerts and configurations as well. And it could be based on the spend as well, like, yeah, I want to spend only 500 pounds or euros or whatever that currency is, and anything beyond that, can I have a notification? So these things can be done using the Visa transaction controls. And Visa travel notification services and mobile location confirmation, this is primarily to reduce the false declines, which happens quite often on the cross-border transactions. So on the cross-border transactions, when you go to the different country, you take your cards, and some of the issuers might not feel secure and they might decline the transaction because it is coming from a different location. So with the travel notification service, if you inform the issuer that you're traveling abroad, which currently happens on phone, I believe, and our studies showed like it costs nearly $5 per call. And if you have that experience within your journey whereby you tell which countries you're visiting, yeah, then that service will pick it up and say like, yes, he is in that country, and please let the transaction go through. Issuer can make the decision if he wants to let it go through. We will inform you like what is the match status. Same thing with the mobile location confirmation. With the mobile location confirmation, it is for the mobile apps. And what happens is if you switch on the mobile app in a country, and if you are making a payment, it will tell if you are within the proximity of that merchant or not. So if you are not in the proximity of the merchant, then issuer might choose to say like, oh, this could be a fraudulent transaction, and might revert back to his previous logic. Or if he finds like, yeah, he's in the proximity of the location and we don't want to decline this, so we can improve the approval rate, so you can let the approval, you can approve the transaction. And then these are the other use cases. Once I go through the website and once you see the use cases, probably pretty much all of this will be clear. The website has many more use cases than this one. So let me show you what we have on the Visa Developer website. And for those of you who are not using the Visa Developer website, probably it's a good start as well to see like what is currently available, how you can quickly start integrating. And then I'm going to talk about Visa Everywhere initiative, which is primarily for startups, and there is a prize money every year that we give out. So this is our Visa Developer website. If you just type in developer.visa.com, you will be landed on this page. And on this page, you can see on the left-hand side, we have segmented by the client type, like acquirer banks, independent developers, issuer banks, merchants, and small businesses. And if you want to expose all the APIs, you simply have to click on Browse All, and you will be taken to the API section. And in there, we classified by API category. So you can see that it is categorized by commercial, data and analytics, ID intelligence, offers and benefits, payment methods, risk and fraud, and there are few in the trials as well. So the one that might be of interest to you could be anything about trials. And if you are interested in the one that is in trials, please let us know. Has anyone of you seen this area before? No? Okay. And if you want to check the availability of this API within the regions, on the top corner, you can see the APIs there, and in there you will see API docs, use cases, and regional availability. We have approximately 44 APIs available globally, and then we keep on adding more and more APIs. So what we are doing is, like, we deliver an API, we test it in a country, and then we go after the regions. So in Europe, it's nearly 20 plus. Yeah, it's 20 plus APIs are available. And the ones that you're seeing in circle are basically like it's limited in region. They're fully available. It's more like where are they available currently, like which markets. And if you are not seeing anything on the right hand side, then they're fully available in these markets to use. And if you have a question, like even if you think that you need an API from this list and you do not see your market there, please let us know. Like if you want to use it, you can ask like when is it coming, or can you make that a priority for us, because you might have a business case whereby you want to use these APIs pretty quickly. And we are happy to prioritize if there is a business case as well. Any questions so far? Okay.
Can you maybe show
Yeah.
where to sign up for?
Yeah, we'll go there. So going back to the developer center landing page, on the right hand side, you will see the use cases and partner showcase. If you click on the use cases, you can see a bunch of use cases there, and pretty much every use case is actually using travel APIs. So you might have another use case which is not here, but that is fully okay with us. We just listed like what we can think of currently, and I'm sure there will be adding few more in the future as well. But if you have a use case that is not on this page, please let us know, and we'll discuss about what APIs you could use. And the one I talked before is manage overseas spend. So it's basically enabling your cardholders to set cross-border controls and alerts. So when you get chance, I would fully encourage to actually go through this document and see like what are the APIs available per use case, and you might get a business thought out of it as well, like if that is relevant to what you are doing, or if you want to change that a little bit to actually integrate based on what you want. So you can do that. And I'm going to play a short video of one of the banks in Nordics. And this is the partner showcase. So you can see a lot of clients have implemented our APIs. Some of them are not from this region, but from globally as well. So you can actually go on there and listen to what they actually say. So this particular bank in Nordics is using global ATM locator and foreign exchange rates. I hope it's connected to the sound, okay?
should be at.
Denmark is a highly digitalized country. People out here are quite used to new digital payment solutions in the market, so we need to exceed the customers' expectations in this area. Visa came to us and showed what the Visa developer platform was all about. The platform has a broad range of capabilities. For my team of developers, it's really easy to use. This enables us to build products for our customers.
At Visa, we really want to deliver the capabilities of our platform and enable our clients to be able to use them. Ultimately, so they can actually deliver a really great experience for their consumers.
Our clients get to choose which APIs they would like to use, when they would like to use them. They can fit them into products they already have or new ideas that they want to explore.
Our customers had an issue. When they travel abroad, they need to withdraw cash when they arrive on their new destination. So we gave them a solution where they can easily find an ATM for that. The currency converter API enables us to give transparency to the customer so he knows about the prices that they actually paid when they're abroad. Visa developer platform enables us to be different than the other banks, to give more value to our customers that exceeds their expectations.
Jyske Bank has paved the way by enabling the Visa developer platform, and I really think for the future.
Visa is an important partner for Jyske Bank due to the fact that they listen to our needs and our demands from our customers.
Jyske Bank are bold, courageous, they're forward-thinking.
We want to be different than the other banks in the digital payments market. That's why we're going to innovate more in the coming years.
So yeah, as you can see, Jyske Bank has used a couple of our APIs, and what they have done there is like they simply integrated our APIs into their journey. So all the UI UX is done by them. What they have simply done is like connecting to the APIs, get the enriched information from us, and they simply enable the customer convenience basically. And about the Visa usage of the Visa developer, if you want to explore the APIs, if you just scroll down the page, there is a section called Working with Visa APIs. And when you click on that, it will tell you like what are all the things that you need to use the Visa developer APIs. So if you look at the first one, like find a solution to your problem, register for the site. So registering for the site is not a big deal. It just needs basic information like your first name, last name, and company, and probably a high-level use case details. And then once you register to the site, you create a project, and when you create the project, it will ask you like what are the APIs you want to use. And there might be some restricted APIs, which means you have to simply drop an email to developer@visa.com with your use case details, and they will give you access. But majority of the APIs are open. And in terms of authentication, again, this is for technical people. Most of our APIs use SSL mutual authentication, but there are some APIs which can be done using XPay token as well. And in terms of certificate generation and Java key stores, if you need any information, there is code readily available on the developer website. You simply have to navigate and find the code and run it. And we are using message level encryption for our latest APIs as well. So I'm going to do quick look into this. I'm going to explain about going live with your project and whom to approach when you have a query and what are all the things that you need for going live. So once you open a project within the sandbox and once you are done with the development, the portal itself will tell you what are the next steps. Like it will give you a step-by-step process, and you will see how many steps are involved with that particular API. For example, with the foreign exchange API, there is no pricing involved. So the go-to-market is pretty quick. Like you can simply use the API. It might take a couple of days to integrate. So I have tested myself, and it literally takes probably less than a day to get the data. But integrating into your platform could be quicker based on your development process. And then there is no pricing for that particular API, so you simply go on to the next stages and simply go live with it. So it's a self-service model. Then there are some APIs where you need a CSS implementation manager to configure. For example, if you're using Visa transaction controls, then you might want to receive some information to inform your customer, like notification alerts. So in that case, what you might have to do is configure the URL, outbound URL as well to receive the notifications. So in that case, you simply send the details to the CSS, which is our client services organization, and they will simply configure it for you. So in your journey, you will fill up the client onboarding form, and then for majority of the APIs, when you create the project, there will be a certificate signing request, and there is a private key when you create the project. When you create the project, you need to download the private key, and you will not get second chance to actually download it again, because that's the security. Like if anyone has hands on it, and I think we don't want that to happen. So private key is very important. Like when you create the project, download the private key and securely store it. Obviously, it will require other information as well, but that is the only point where you can have your private key. And once you go into the project, you can create other credentials, and you can add more users to it. I'm going to show you a sample project, and probably you will understand a bit more. And then the next stage is like request product and pricing. So you can simply follow the information on here. So they might come back and say that, oh, you don't need pricing information. And you might find out yourself as well when you're developing within the VDP sandbox. Like there is no pricing stage, because for the APIs which does not have the pricing stage, we do not put that within our onboarding procedure. And then for the APIs that request a contract, it's the similar procedure. You just need to simply get the contract, sign it, and re-upload it. For some of the APIs, you don't need it. But for some of the APIs, you do need it, because it's more like an intellectual property, and we want to know like who is using it and was it being used for a relevant purpose or not. And all the steps that you have followed for your sandbox, like creating the keys, creating the users. So when you move into the production, you need the production specific keys and production specific configuration. So you might have to do the same steps, but again, like it doesn't take too long. It's more like probably 5 minutes, I think, to get all the credentials generated. Everything has been automated so far. And we are automating further steps as well as we go along. So you will see that this will be much more slicker. I will explain a little bit about how a project looks like within the Visa Developer Portal, and then you will get an idea of what information we use for developing or consuming the API. So when you sign into the Visa Developer Center, this is the dashboard, and you will see all the projects there. As you can see, I have created a lot of projects, and ATM locator, card on file data inquiry, forex rates, and you will see certificate status on the right hand side as well, and the status here showing if it's a sandbox or certification or production. And when you click on one of the projects, you can go in and you can in fact click on the API Explorer to actually see how the request and response fields look like. And I think that is the first point, like you have to find out when you implement a use case, is this API having all the fields that I need, or will I have to make any further changes? So even before developing it, what you need to do is go into the API and see if the request and response is having all the fields you need. And majority of the times what we have done is we have created a sample interface here, and it is actually connecting to an API in a sandbox center. You can tinker with the data, or you can use the sample payload and simply fire the request and see what happens. I think for this API, this is more like a mock-up. Oh no, sorry. Oh, there you go. No, there is one. You simply fire the request object, and then you got the response back. You just need to scroll down and see what the response looks like. So I will let you play with it after this session, but as you can see, there is too much information there around latitude, longitude, and you can use that information to actually plot it on the Google Maps and say where the nearby ATM location is. And then going back to your dashboard and the project, you can see on the left-hand side, there are a few sections. First one is a summary, which will allow you to go and see what the request and response fields look like. And then there is a credentials section where you have the user ID, password, and the common certificates that you can actually use for your sandbox development. And the one on the right here is a project certificate. And you should have a lot of test data available that you can use for sandbox development. And once you are done, well, in fact, if you want to use the sample code, you can simply go click on the sample code, just choose whatever you want and integrate within your code and fire the request. And in case if you need any further support with the code, the first point is like check in the community, Visa developer community. So you should be able to navigate from the Visa developer website. There is a community and a blog, so you can go and find if there is you can ask a query there, or simply drop an email to developer@visa.com. And the last stage is going live. And for this one, you see all the steps: register your company, provide project information, and that's the production. That's it. You know, the previous steps I told you might not be applicable for all the APIs, and for the APIs where you need the pricing and contracts, you will see the further stages there. And yes, that's the end of it. Any questions? All right, thank you very much.